Buddy. This is Marcus, Developer Relations at Edge and Node. I am joined here by a ETHGlobal winner who won the Graph Prize using Hypergraph at ETHGlobal Con. And here he is today. His name's Nick, and I just want to welcome him to Graph Builder's office hours. And at this moment, I'm actually getting multiple streams lined up right now, trying to get the stream started. So while I do that, Nick, if you can go ahead and say hi to the audience, say hi to the developers out there, and then also just give a little bit of a background about yourself. Could you go ahead and do that?
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Nick. I'm excited to demo first. Thank you for the Graph team and Marcus for having me here today. So I was building Ferris at ETHGlobal Can with it is a composable real-world asset risk oracle and a network map. What got me into this is I came from a finance and accounting background, so I am very curious about Web3 data and on-chain assets. How does it work and how does it bridge to broader audience and allow more people to get access to it?
Awesome. Well, going from
So
going
let's
from
carry on. What do we see?
real quick, I want to before we hop in real quick, I just want to once again thank you for your time, Nick. And I'm
Yeah,
going to be chatting with chat right now. I'm seeing chat hanging out, and how's the audio? How am I sounding here, guys? Does that sound okay? Audio up, audio up. I'll turn mine up. Still, how we doing? Yeah, we're on a live stream, Nick, so everything is real time here. How we doing? Still needs more audio. More mic. Okay, louder, louder. How's that sounding, Nick? Is that okay? Now clipping. See, it's like right on the edge. How are we doing there? Is that reasonable?
yeah,
Okay.
I can hear it.
Okay. I think we have a winner here. Maybe, just maybe. Let's see. Ah, yes, winner. Lewis, Yana. We good? All right. 100%. Okay. Had to get the EQs and all the balancing here. So, yes, chat, we have Nick here. Once again, chat, if you have any questions about, if you have any questions for Nick as he is sharing his build, I looked through his build. It's really impressive. So, yeah, give him your attention, give him your focus. And Nick, the stage is yours, my friend. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to hang out here. And if I have any questions, you don't mind me just hopping in and asking if that's okay?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Nick, take it over, buddy.
Thank you very much, Marcus. So I'm going to introduce Ferris, a composable real-world asset risk oracle and network map. It is knowledge network that turns any real-world asset into an intelligent, queryable data node on-chain. It's kind of like a Google Maps and Moody's for tokenized assets, fully on the graph and hypergraph powered. So we see the problem of today's on blockchain is due intelligence is a bit manual and slow. It's not composable. And real-world asset is actually trillions sitting and exploding on-chain. Everyone's want to get their assets on-chain, but it's really hard to verify to build credibility and compliance side. So there is no network wide risk propagation. Everything is a bit um, idled. And the missing link between DeFi, TradFi, and the real world is an oracle that we think. The vision is what if you have a live risk intelligence for any asset? Imagine you can query risk, ownership alerts, and even audit trails live across any protocol and asset. What if anyone can annotate using Hypergraph to simulate and remix the risk data simply as just tagging in a Figma document? So we have built Varus as the risk infra that it has unified API, DAO users and asset managers can instant queries for asset data, risk scores, alerts. With our network map, they can visualize all of the relationships between the asset, with a simulator, they can model real events and see real impact. And it's all hypergraph powered. We have a function that we allow users to collaborate with in public and private space across the network, and a risk center that they can monitor live alerts, concentration risk, and triggers. And we are also subgraph native. All of the data are metadata that is querying from the graph. So all of the on-chain events has records, and that's how we build credibility.
Real quick
Let's
question.
go from
Is that okay, Nick, if I hop in
our
really?
app.
Yeah.
Is that
This is a big idea. I saw some big stuff. What was it like coming up with this idea? Did you come up with this idea? I mean, you must have seen the hypergraph bounty. And then at that point, did you have this idea before then? Or did you learn about hypergraph and then get inspired? Same with GRC20 and that. What was that like to come up with this idea? Because this is a pretty big idea you're working on.
Yes. So originally, I was interested in real-world assets. I see blockchain is very mature. There's a lot of protocols and infrastructures. I see the rails are very clear, but we don't see very broad use of real-world assets nowadays at the moment. And when I was at ETHGlobal, I was very interested in the Graph protocol. It's indexing all of data. I feel like it's supporting most of the apps, DApps, and protocols on chain, even cross chain as well. So, and then I looked into it. At first, I was building for ERC20, and then it was actually around ETHGlobal Can, and the Hypergraph GitHub was updated, and there was a new bounty about Hypergraph. And I started looking into it, and I see, oh, this is very interesting. It gives a new way of with the users and the people who make the data, so they can. It's like a different type of interactions between the data.
Yeah, the scope. I mean, I've been judging hackathons for years now, and it's amazing to see what can be accomplished in such a short amount of time with, I mean, the UI is gorgeous. I mean, I remember just literally like 2 years ago judging hackathons and being like, it's just frames and that's all it is. And now we have beautiful UI, big idea. It's really fun to see big ideas be able to come to fruition rapidly with a brand new piece of technology being GRC20 and Hypergraph. Like the acceleration and development is just a lot of fun, man. So, and also you're choosing a project that it looks interesting. You got real world assets. Let's talk more about this and what you're trying to give people with this project.
So essentially, when you come into Varus, the homepage is kind of like a general dashboard app. But if you look into it, we have a portfolio overview and portfolio risk data. And our sidebar, you can go into the assets. Before that, actually, all of the assets are IFPS, so they're GRC20 data that we're visualizing here. And I can go into the system architectures to explain it
Do you, do you,
easier.
do you have,
So
do you have
we
experience?
will essentially allow the aim.
I'm curious, do you have experience back end, front end? What's your experience with development? What's your primary history with development?
I actually solo hacked this project, so it's like the whole thing,
Got
a
it.
full stack.
Got it. Amazing. Keep going, man.
Yeah. So this is the API data, the data architecture that uses from the front end, and then with the API layer with the subgraph data, and then essentially they will come to we're on Polygon network right now, and then the centralized storage. If you go into a data mode, so this is what is the data showing right now. You can see the relationship between the jurisdiction, the owner, and the manager, and even like audit documents. This is the big idea. If we go into one asset, we can click into our network map. This is the nodes between the assets, protocols, and jurisdiction relationships. At the moment, the risks are pretty high. Only one owner. If we go into dark mode, you can see much more clear the relationships. and what are you owning. This is the risk analyzing data for because there's
Wait,
no
did you just do dark
for
mode?
risk.
Okay, you did dark mode. That's nice. Anytime there's a dark mode, automatic points. Just looks really nice, man. Gorgeous UI. And so, what are we looking at here again?
Yeah, so we wanted to do the simulations for the users.
These are simulations.
This is different Yes, this is different property in the portfolio with this is the DeFi protocol centrifuge. It's like at the moment it's marked because we built this over the 3 days at the hackathon. This is different protocols and the interesting part is we can go to our risk center and we can analyze the risk based on the liquidity, documentation score, and asset health. For example, if you have a property in Singapore, you have all the track record and transaction history uploaded on to IPFS, and everyone can query it through subgraph. And if you compare it to a property or an asset in Malaysia, let's say, if it doesn't provide as much as data on chain, not everyone can query it at the same time, then if you invest into the asset, so generally it just gives you high risk. And our various protocol is basically want to give everyone the transparency of the data and give it analysis so they can create the alert. And with this, we actually do with Hypergraph as a function, which
Yeah,
is
I did
this
want to check that
analog
out.
thing.
Like, if you could talk about the sourcing of the data, what's hypergraph, what's subgraph? I'm curious what is coming from what.
At the moment, all of the data, all of the property assets here are we customize a subgraph. So we publish that subgraph with the graph, and then this is all of the data that we got from the subgraph we customized.
Cool, cool, cool.
Is that does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
So essentially, if we go from here, the risk calculation model, the asset is here, and this subgraph event could be transfer of the asset, new asset, and updates of the asset data, asset details, and then the backend will pull subgraph data, fetches all of the risk rates, the protocol size, ownership, and then we have a risk model that will compute the risk. In the future, we hope it will be a machine learning and AI calculations to be more accurate.
Nice,
And our front end will show dashboard, risk center, and simulations.
nice. I have a question
And
from
then
chat right here.
if we go on, yeah,
I have a question from chat specific on those risk thresholds. There's a question from chat. Are you building your own risk thresholds and or using platforms like DEX tools, etc.? How are you doing that?
this essentially, what do you mean by my own risk tool?
So essentially, like, how are you calculating risk? Is it done? Did you do your own equations, your own mathematics, or is it another tool that you're using?
Yeah, at the moment, it's just our own risk model
Gotcha.
based on these risk factors. Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's see. And one more question in chat. I saw Chainlink and Google Maps, but do you have plans, medium or long term, to go open source for some features like OpenStreetMaps, for example?
Good question. Actually, we one of our vision is to have API documentation that makes it open source. So it will make it composable for everyone, and everyone can get data like, for example, detailed asset data, current risk assessment, and the latest risk alerts. And Hypergraph does a very interesting thing. Let's say if we go to Risk Center, Risk center is where you can create your alert based on the risk you've calculated. And
Mm,
Hypergraph allows you to want to publish on a space if I want to share it with my team. So this is what it will bring more real-time information and data interactions within the community as well.
very cool.
But for our Hypergraph integration at the moment, we did not. This app is not built on the schema Hypergraph at the moment. But then we made our own kind of like multi Hypergraph integrations, which kind of have similar cryptography, like uh, let's say creating public space, private space. I'm not sure if they if the original as GitHub has the team space. We kind of wanted to create it. So, for example, if you want to connect with your asset manager, or
Mm.
asset managers want to communicate with other communities, so they can have data that is visualized within their group, you know.
Right, right. I know that the team right
But
now
in the,
is focusing on just public and private spaces. I think there was a team space in the past, but I think that was. I think there will be eventually more kind of fine-grained user authentication, not just authentication, but access controls in the future. And I know for this upcoming hackathon, we have a ETHGlobal New York City, so there. I think it's just going to be public and private. I don't think there's going to be the workspaces at this time.
okay, amazing. But I feel like even still with public and private space, I think hypergraphs changes the dimension of data interaction for general people, like, or general users. So originally, most of the data are just you're consuming it from, let's say, if it's in Web2L, you're consuming online. On chain, you'll be consuming on chain, and then you take the data down, and then you just use where you want it. But then with Hypergraph, it's sort of the public and private space allows you to, it provides a three-dimensional interaction with the data. So I think that's why it's very interesting to build on Hypergraph right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you could speak a little bit more about Hypergraph, we as a ecosystem are adapting to this new framework, let alone Web3 as a whole. And I'm wondering if you could share your personal experience about learning about Hypergraph and then having some of your first hours with the concept of building in the Hypergraph framework. Is there something kind of like high level that you could tell other developers who might be curious about Hypergraph?
Yeah, well, originally I think I started with GRC20, so which is not as difficult because it's kind of like a basic framework for the knowledge graph framework, like from GRC20 and IPFS. Because I've tried to, let's say, when I was building the asset page at the beginning, I found dev issues. It's like I couldn't connect to the um, public node that storing the IPFS. So I kind of created my own node, and then I put all of the data there. And then I needed to create a middleware that will decrypt all of the complications from the node. So that kind of gave me a easier understanding of how to interact the data with Hypergraph. Hypergraph is more on the front end, so users can integrate it with their private, it could be private nodes, private annotations, anything they want to put in, right, with Hypergraph. Yeah, that kind of like got me easier to understand how it's going to work.
Awesome. Yeah, if anyone's out there wanting to get started with Hypergraph, I think Nick shared a good example of starting where you prefer to start. There's the GRC20 spec, which is, I mean, it's, if there is to be like an ERC20 for financial data, the GRC20 is quite low level and you could start there if that's where you want to start. And then if you want to move up, You can go to the SDK, which there's a GRC20 TS, which is a very powerful SDK that is being developed. And then on top of that, there's Hypergraph, which uses all of that. So it just depends on where you want to start from. If you want more the front end experience, yeah, go with Hypergraph. If you want more of the low level, closer access to the data, do what Nick did and do GRC20.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like 3 levels of integrating with the graph, I think,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is really awesome.
yeah. I mean, we're trying to make it as flexible as possible. So that's awesome. We've heard feedback from multiple developers being that saying either GRC is great, GRC is confusing, GRC is all these different variations, but in the end, it is the root of all of this type of development that we're doing. So if you can start from there, you're going to do just fine moving up the stack a little bit higher to the SDK or Hypergraph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like how is the Hypergraph SDK development going? You know?
So I was in the SDK, let's see, I think it was like 2 months ago. I was working a lot with it and just honestly just trying to get my head around it and then interact with GRC20 and build with that. And then pretty much 2 months ago, I shifted all my focus to Hypergraph. So I have not really paid attention to the SDK in the last few months. But 2 months ago, I was very much in it and it was doing great. It's still very much in developer preview. So I remember there was, I was trying to use a call and it wasn't going through. And then, talking with developers. So it's just, in that state. We're still in developer preview state. So this is more of a open public, developing in public type of thing that we're doing, which we find is really helpful to get feedback from devs like you. But yeah, how's it doing? It's getting more closely interwoven with Hypergraph as we speak.
Very good. So it's the perfect time to build with Hypergraph to get.
Yeah, I mean, I would
It's kind of
say,
like
yeah, this is the time we're being
being
very active
included
in
in the
listening
building
to.
process.
Yeah, we're trying to listen very much
Yeah.
to critique, with the building process. So Nick, yeah, if you have any feedback, was there anything about the hypergraph building that for you was confusing, that felt like, man, this GRC didn't work how you thought? What were the blockers that you ran into?
The blockers. Hmm. I would say the integration, because I was trying to when I was first trying to integrate Hypergraph, and I was trying to install the dependencies and
Mm,
then to plug in, but
mm,
I found out like if it would be easier if you just use the schema um, and then build on top of the schema app with
mm.
Hypergraph. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 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 yeah. The
Because
were you using TypeSync or no? Was that not available for you at the time?
yeah, like this is actually part of the blocks I faced
Right.
because I think a lot of Web3 apps they kind of like had their own package. It probably doesn't use TypeSync, and I
Mhm.
didn't actually. So
Right.
that's why I've mocked my own hypergraph integration.
Nice, nice. Yeah,
I did
that
not build
makes
on top of
sense.
schema, but
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you can use the GRC20 spec and essentially build out your own data set from there, and then actually, at least learn the principles, we're happy. We're trying to get you guys developers to use it. So understanding the fundamentals is yeah, I kind of have to think differently whenever you're going into this kind of hypergraph mentality, I guess. So that's good. You found that out.
yeah. But in the future, I think we want to work around or we want to move our whole app onto the hypergraph schema to make the UI and every function is more seamless, you know.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Well, there's a question in chat. Let's see. Do you have any plans to check out substreams for one of your layers? Basically, you'll have subgraphs, substreams, and then also knowledge graph data all being piped in. That would be a hell of a rich data set in your app. Any plans for substreams?
Substreams. Actually not very um I don't like understand so deep about substreams. So
Yeah, no worries about
do you
that.
mind telling me more?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, substreams are a whole nother thing. Essentially, the best way I like to describe it very quickly is subgraphs are useful for most general purpose needs in blockchain data. And the substream category is very much for enterprise. If you need more speed, more data, if you need lower level data from the chain, that's substreams. And so, yeah, just depends on what you need. Most use cases, subgraphs do great, especially for hackathons. They're great. But when you need, like I said, more closer to chain head or lower level data, enterprise level amount of data, go with substreams. Yeah. So I wanted to say, is there anything else you want to share with Varus? And I have a question also. What's the plan moving forward with this app? Are you going to keep on developing it? What's your plans with this?
So also at the moment, our Hypergraph integration is annotation notes scenarios that people can publish and communicate the data on with Hypergraph as well, which will also help them interpret the data. For integration, we actually want everyone using the app. It could be from different protocols, assets, or different chain data. Even they can also see and remix and collapse on the data. It should be real time. It could be with geotestnet. We've looked into it. We are also
Awesome.
we would also love to make a AI MCP.
Very cool.
It's
Yeah, I mean,
AI
it seems
agents that plugs into
yeah,
all of the subgraph data of the app.
yeah. There's, I mean, it seems like it's going to be ripe. It already is ripe for those data sets that are there for some type of agentic integration with an MCP server, and then to be able to, I mean, there's a subgraph MCP that we have a token API MCP. I feel like that's the next, at least tool. I'm not going to say next huge thing, but I do feel like it's a
Yes.
nice thing to have, and at least in my development when I'm trying to figure out, which database has what and where to plug into. That's a really nice feature that MCPs can do. That it just takes gives me more time, which is nice. So, with you, I'm curious. So,
I think
um,
the AI MCP also works with substreams, right?
I think there is right now. Yeah, I've like I've said, I've been heads down on the hypergraph world, but I do believe there is an MCP with substreams that we are public with. Let's see. Yes, there is an MCP for substreams. Thank you for confirming, chat. I can't keep my head on the swivel all the time for everything that's going around. So yes, MCPs are feeling good right now. The the next so you're going to be doing more of a roadmap thing. Are you attending any other hackathons coming up in the future? Are you going to do you have a plan to keep on going with more ETHGlobal events?
Yeah, like definitely. I want to go to more ETH events. I think because I'm based in London at the moment, and Ethereum just did a ETH London relaunch 2 weeks ago,
Awesome, awesome. Yeah.
and I haven't looked into
Say that again. I lost you there. Say that one more time.
I haven't looked into other hackathons at the moment. I was in on Paris recently, but I'll definitely keep an eye
Yeah.
on other opportunities.
Anytime ETHGlobal has an event, it's good to attend if you can. And then also there's a Dev Connect, which is going to be a big one this year in November. So those are the two big ones. If you can make it, that would be a fun one to go to Argentina for a little bit. So
Mm.
awesome, man. Well, let's see if there's any more questions here. Let's see. Yes, one more question. Let's see. What are you looking for next? I guess specifically for your app users, RWA projects, investors. What are you looking for to grow to the next level with what you're doing?
Well, I would absolutely want to move forward this project to the full integration and further um, improvements with the graph and our app. Uh, I'm also, yeah, I would love also like any feedbacks and any suggestions that we can improve the app. Like that would be great.
Awesome. Would you mind if I share your Telegram in the Discord, in our the Graph Discord, so they can reach out to you? Would that be all
Sure.
right?
So this is my Twitter. My Telegram is the same username.
Okay,
So
perfect. Yeah.
yes.
All right. On Telegram and Twitter. Okay, so Nkontel on Telegram and Twitter. That's I think I got a. There we go. Perfect. I got a check mark in chat.
Oh,
So
I,
the
wait.
oh, are you there?
I got a typo. It should be. I got a typo earlier. It should be this, just to confirm.
Nkontel. Nkontel. Yes, I have that. Okay, perfect. And Avaris Oracle. I'm sharing this with chat here. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So awesome, man. These next hackathons coming up. I hope you're out there too. It'd be really nice to meet you in person. The build that you've built, honestly, is one of the more fully fleshed out
Yeah.
full products that I've seen. And oh, one final thing. I guess this would be good to end on because this is key here. Could you walk through a real world asset project and how they would use Varus? And I think this is a good last little bit to end this on.
Is it a question from the chat
Yeah, there's a question from the
or?
chat. Yeah, the chat's asking like literally step by step. Let's say you're an RWA, and how would you, go ahead and use yours? Yeah, use Varus.
From a protocol point of view, they might not want to have. They might not be able, like they may not be starting from this page. For example, if let's say centrifuge, they have Rewet as a protocol. They have tons of assets, and they can allow us to build a customized subgraph for them, or they can have a subgraph of data that allow us to plug into our platform. And then we could either use API that can connect to their asset data, or it will be from our data. I think this would be a better page to show it. For
Mm.
example, if this is the protocol,
Mm-hmm.
centrifuge, and it could links to all of the data. So this is here. It is here, and it could contribute all of the data to our platform to increase the credibility of the platform and basically more trust and more transparency, which is very important for DAO
Mm-hmm.
users and everyone, I feel like.
Awesome. Awesome.
And then
Yeah. Anytime.
people will be able to see on the dashboard.
Yeah. Anytime I see a well-designed dashboard, essentially a well-designed dashboard is a well-designed potential for making decisions. And too much information is not good. Too little is not good either. That feels balanced. So I'm happy that you put a little bit of design work into that. That feels right. So really great work. And thank you, Nick, for your time. And I wish you the very, very best with continuing this project. This feels like it has legs. It feels like also you are choosing to build portions of your stack on some forward-leaning thought with the knowledge graph being on it. So we're going to keep on building GRC20 and Hypergraph and this spec out, and we're really trying to make it work. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to keep on chatting with you over time and seeing how we can make this better for you and what you're building. That would mean a lot to us.
Thank you very much for having me here, Marcus.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Like it is very I'm happy to share this with the community.
Yeah, man. Awesome, awesome. Well, I've shared your contact information in chat, And hopefully people will be reaching out to you soon. Let's keep on chatting. But for now, thank you everyone for joining another episode of the Graph Builders Office Hours. We'll be here next week on Thursday. I'll have to double check if I'm going to be able to make that actually, because I'm going to be going to ETHGlobal New York City, and I'm traveling on the 14th. So I'm going to have to see if I can get maybe some coverage on that. But anyways, thank you for joining us, everybody. And Nick, once again, thank you for joining us as well. So take care, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.